In the folds of the green hills, lazy and content, the village of Omiile lay sleeping. It was a simple place where life moved to the rhythm of the sun and the rains. The paths were worn smooth by generations of bare feet. It was a place of harmony. It was a place of knowing. Everyone knew everyone, and every story had been told until it was as smooth as a river stone. The small, empty hut at the very top of the hill had been silent and broken for as long as anyone could remember. Then, one morning, she was just there. A wisp of clean, white smoke, thin as a thread, rose from its roof and pierced the morning sky. The village, for the first time in a decade, stopped. Farmers paused on the way to their fields. Women, baskets balanced, looked up from the stream. The woman who lived there was Abeni, and she was always smiling. She smiled at the children who dared each other to run past her crumbling gate. She smiled at the men walking to their farms, their machetes glinting. She smiled at the women at the stream, their gossip falling silent as she passed. This, in itself, was a problem. Abeni's relentless, mysterious joy felt wrong. It felt suspicious. The heart of Omiile wasn't the chief's hut. It was the market square. And the heart of the market wasn't the yam stand. It was Essie. Isie's tongue was sharper than her new cassava knife. From her stall, she saw everything. And from the moment she saw Abeni, she did not like what she saw. "It's not natural," AC whispered one hot afternoon, her voice just loud enough to carry. "No one smiles that much for no reason. She has no farm, yet she seems to want for nothing. I tell you, something is not right with that woman." The whisper was like a spark on dry grass. It caught. The other women now looked up at the hill with a new, colder speculation. "Issy is right," one murmured. "It's unsettling." The gossip grew, watered by Issy, and soon Abeni's smile wasn't seen as kind, but as a mask. Then, for 5 straight days, Abeni vanished. The hut on the hill was silent. The thin wisp of smoke was gone. Her smiling face was gone from the path, gone from the market. The gossip quieted, replaced by a new, more nervous murmur. Her absence was somehow worse. Finally, a group of villagers, including a very suspicious Essie, decided to walk up the hill and put their eyes on the truth. The path up the hill was steeper than it looked. The group of villagers huffed as they climbed. Essie led the way, her face set like a mask of grim duty. They arrived, out of breath, expecting to find, well, no one was sure what they expected. A dark secret, a pile of bones. Instead, they found Abeni tending a small, neat fire. She was humming. When she saw them, her face lit up. "Welcome, my people." What a lovely surprise. The villagers shuffled, their righteous anger suddenly feeling a bit foolish. Abeni, one of the elders, said, "We we were worried. "Oh," she replied, her smile turning apologetic. "You are so kind to worry. I was just tidying. You see, my daughter is coming to visit me from the city. It has been a long time." The villagers were stunned into silence. A daughter from the city? Essie's eyes narrowed to slits. She looked at Abeni's skin, which was smooth and bright. "Madam," Essie asked, "people hardly move to this village. Why choose this place?" Abeni smiled gently, and for a moment, a shadow of an old sadness passed over her face. "After I lost my husband, I just needed somewhere peaceful." On their way back down the hill, the men nodded, satisfied. "It all makes sense," one said. But Essie and the other women were not convinced. "A daughter from the city?" Essie hissed. "I don't believe her for 1 second." A few days later, a vision walked into the town square, and the market simply stopped. A young woman stood there, so beautiful it was almost comical. Her skin was like polished ebony, her city clothes of bright, intricate fabrics. She looked, Essie thought, with a fresh pang of anger, completely and utterly out of place. "Excuse me, please," the lady said. "I am looking for my mother. Her name is Abeni." The name broke the spell. Half the young men in the square suddenly found their life's calling. "Abeni, yes, we know her. I will show you. My legs are the strongest. No, I will take you." This beautiful daughter, Amara, was led up the hill by an eager, tripping, and suddenly very helpful crowd of admirers. They were followed by several large, heavy trunks that took 4 of the strongest men to haul up the hill, all of whom pretended the trunks were much lighter. Back in the square, Essie's group was buzzing like angry bees. 4 men, Essie spat. "That is the wealth of a queen. Abeni lied, I told you." The very next day, a new smell began to drift down from the hill, a rich, intoxicating aroma. Spices so complex, they made the whole villagers stop and sniff the air. Abeni and Amara had opened a small food stall, selling everything: chicken, rice, rich stews, seasoned fish. And the most shocking part of all was the price. It was, impossibly, practically free. The effect was immediate. Every single day, a long line of villagers snaked its way up the hill. Men who had spent their lives perfectly content suddenly found their wives cooking, lacking. Essie's own husband, Kofi, was the first in line every morning, his face full of joy. "Essie, my love," he bellowed that night, patting his full, round stomach. "But Abeni's stew, it tastes like a promotion." Essie's favorite soup pot cracked. She and the other wives were furious. Their husbands were publicly shaming them, and their children were constantly begging for hill food. The young bachelors now just stayed on the hill, sitting under a nearby tree, acting like a pack of lovesick goats, just watching Amara. They stopped mending their fishing nets. They forgot to till their father's soil. the village was grinding to a halt. And in the market, Essie's whispers turned to cold, hard declarations. This is not natural. This is a curse. The real terror began. A small boy, Tunde, vanished. He was last seen playing near the path that led up the hill. His mother's wail echoed through the valley, a sound that chilled the blood. A few minutes later, another child, Fola, disappeared from her own yard. The village froze. The delicious, cheap food suddenly seemed sickening. The aroma drifting down from the hill, once so inviting, now smelled like a trap. Essie marched into the center of the square, her face contorted. "I told you," she shrieked. "With stew, they bought our husbands. With beauty, they bought our sons. And now they are taking our children." The village exploded. Grief and fear turned instantly to rage. Men grabbed their sharpest machetes. The women, led by Essie, seized torches and heavy pestles. The mob surged as one up the path, screaming for blood. They stormed the hut, bursting through the simple doorway, ready to destroy whatever evil they found. And they froze. The hut was not dark or evil. It was warm. There, sitting on a mat, was Amara, playing a game with painted stones. Sitting with her, laughing and fat-cheeked from a recent meal, were Tunde and Fola. Abeni looked up in absolute terror at the wall of angry faces and raised weapons. "What is this? Why do you come with fire?" Tunde's mother let out a cry, not of grief, but of pure relief, and pushed through to snatch up her son. Isi, her torch held high, looked completely baffled. "But you stole them." Abeni's kind face hardened with an anger they had never seen. "Stole them. He wandered up here, lost and crying, and little Fola followed the smell. I was keeping them safe." Kofi pointed a shaking finger at the pot. "And the food. How do you feed a village for free? It is magic." Amara stood up. She walked to one of her heavy trunks and pulled out a small, carved wooden box. Inside was a pouch of shimmering golden powder. "My dowry was this, a bag of azure spice. A single pinch makes the simplest pot taste like a feast. We shared it. And our sons," another woman shrieked, pointing at the dazed young men still sitting under the tree. Amara looked at the foolish boys with pity. "Bewitched them?" I smiled at them. "Is it my fault they have no shame?" A terrible, heavy silence fell on the mob. The villagers looked down at the machetes in their hands. And then, slowly, every single eye in the hut turned to Izzy. Her face crumpled. The hatred now looked like what it was: ugly jealousy. Her torch clattered to the floor. The walk back down the hill was the longest, quietest walk in the village's history. They had marched up to kill a monster, only to find they had been the monster. The next morning, the village awoke, and then, from the top of the hill, came that same wonderful smell of stew. One by one, the villagers began to walk up the path. but they didn't bring coins. The men brought yams. The women brought cassava. Kofi himself brought a basket of his finest vegetables. They came to contribute. They found Abeni and Amara by the pot, smiling. The spice only makes the food taste good, Abeni said, accepting the gifts. It is the village that makes the feast.